This is Scott Kidd, the Yacht Captain Investor. We're on the Yacht Captain Investor podcast. Today I have the pleasure of having Jenell Kelly here, business coach and event producer. She's done a lot of boot camps and everything. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. And I love that you just added event producer, because I've never have referred to myself that way. And I'm like, he's not wrong, right? So thanks for adding that.
Well, I mean, you are a producer. You are the one putting them on and everything. Tell us a little more about yourself, and then we'll get into the production part.
My background is 33 years now in healthcare. I was an ER trauma nurse for many years. I was helped run North Broward ER and management down here in South Florida. So I had 365 employees, and it was great until the day it dawned on me that I was completely exhausted on every level. I wanted out, and I had no idea what else I could do. I was in my early 40s, and it was all I knew. I was 26 years into the profession, and I was okay. So I hung out for another 2 years, and then network marketing came into my face. And so that's what kind of led to where I am today. In that road, on that journey, it's just everything I needed to have the success that I have today. Is I fell in love with that work, which is the inside work. I fell in love with the world of transformational work. So I'm a transformational trainer. I teach a program from Stanford University that was part of their business and master's degree program. Kind of blends Eastern and Western philosophy, gives you over 65 different tools and techniques to, again, quiet the committee, and really just taking this work out to the world, because I realized you can give anybody the $1 million opportunity. Even they could be surrounded by the right people. They wanted it more for me than I did, and I wanted it more than I wanted anything else in the world. So the desire was there. How to do it was there. I knew I could do what they were telling me to do, but every night I go to bed and I'd be like, girl, you still didn't do anything. And so people give up, but instead of giving up, I got really curious. I was like, this doesn't even make sense. And that curiosity, I let it become my mentor.
What I'm learning more and more as the older I get is that the solutions or the person's probably just right there in front of you. Most of the time, what I'm realizing is you get so busy and everything, and you get hectic and you get kind of stressed over things. But if you just kind of take a step back and relax, a lot of times the solution comes to you pretty quickly. There's this guy, David Bayer. I've watched him on YouTube for quite some time, read his book and stuff. And he said, you still have to do the work, but if you relax, more creative thought comes from being relaxed and stressed. I tell people all the time, the boat or the apartment or the equipment, it's logical. You can fix it pretty easily. But the people, a lot of part can be very complex sometimes, because people haven't dealt with some of the issues that they may or may not know that they're actually having.
I'm right with you on that. I'm there's so much power in a pause. Just pause, because a busy mind is just a spinning mind that's full. You can't think of a solution in a sense of feeling of emotion of anxiety or stress. You can't come up with solution. And very often what we're looking for, it's right in front of our face. And there's various reasons we can't see it. One reason we can't see that, we put these expectations out on the world, and we put expectations on other people. And it's and if it doesn't show up the way we think it should and how it should look and packaged the way it should be packaged, we literally can miss out on the best opportunity of our life. And then the other reason is the mind is, if you picture it like a garden, and then we always want these new beautiful flowers to grow. And that's the ideas, that's the imagination, that's the solutions. But if your garden is full of the old thoughts, the old beliefs, the old crap that runs around, new flowers, they can't come through. You can't even think of a new thought or a new solution, because you're so stuck in your past. For me, the journey is not about what we get to learn. It's what do we get to undo? There was so much of the undoing that I needed to undo in order to become who I became.
Being that future person that does all those successes is completely different than that person that didn't do it so far.
They interviewed all these millionaires, right? They did 100 millionaire interviews, and they said, what do you do? And so they came up with this triangle of success. And what they realized is they continuously doing self-development and inner work, taking accountability, and then really it's about the knowledge. And we get to do it every single day, because if we don't, we can't change.
There's no pathway opening up if you're stagnant. We all struggle at times. For me, if I just get up and start doing things, it makes the day a lot easier. If you sit there and think about it, you're going to lose it.
If you think about it, we're producers of our life, right? I was just talking to somebody else on a different thing, and we were talking about mindfulness, meditation, and journaling. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools. Sit down and have a mantra and just say, breathe in, breathe out. So when the thought comes, stop the sentence, recognize it, and then kind of put it in this golden bubble and send it off and come back to the mantra. Now, you might have to do that 50 times in your 10-minute meditation, but you just strengthened your brain and your consciousness so greatly, so that when you are going through the day and that bullshit's going on in your head, you catch it and you can put it in the bubble, send it off, and come back to the present moment.
I've done and I've redone personal declaration letter of what your year looked like. There's those books like Vivid Vision. They work if you read the letter every morning and then read it every night before you go to bed. When you're getting stressed, they were saying, hey, just pick it up and start reading it, because then you read it and then your mind will say, oh, this is is what we're doing. Pausing is such a powerful thing. My first captain mentor, he's teaching me how to dock the boat, drive the boat, and all that stuff. And I was coming in all sideways. My hands were moving way faster than my brain. And he said, stop. But I'm going to hit this over here. And he's like, well, what do you need to do to get out of that? Oh, I need to go reverse on the port motor. Well, do that. And I did that. And then came right in. And he's like, your approach was great. Everything was fine. You just started overthinking it at the end. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're going to hit something, it's fine. Just stop. If you just stop, you know what to do. Sometimes you need to stop and start over. Sometimes you need to just scrap the whole thing.
Yeah. We literally, in 30 seconds, have the ability to shift. I think one of my biggest moments was I had a car accident. It led to a surgery that I had to have. Then, like 2 weeks after the surgery, I was here and I'm like doing my thing. And something happened and I just knew that it was like impending death. And I stayed as calm as possible. There were so many gifts in that whole experience. And if you talk about the power of pause and the power of the present moment, I was perfectly fine through that whole healing. The second that I would reflect back on what happened, or I would go forward and think of what could happen, only then. It was like a freaking freight train. I never felt anything in my life like that, but this fear of anxiety or stress, right? And that's like a really dramatic way to share that as an example. If we could just be where we are, because we're never stressed, we're never anxious, we're not depressed, we're not anything. If we're right here, where we're always safe and whole and we're cool, you know? It's only when we go somewhere else in our head, which is either visit the past or worry about the future. It's so powerful when you really truly get it and just learn to live here and now and stop putting expectations on other people and things because they're not yours to put expectations on.
Somebody brought up to me all that generational trauma where they took mice and they shocked it or something like that, and then they gave them a scent, and then they went 7 generations of mice, and then they gave that scent and the mouse got all tensed up, and I was like, wow, it's crazy. And I was like, think about that, like 7 generations back, that's like 150 years ago, how much the world has changed, and like think of all the hard times people had gone through to get to that, and like you might not knowingly have all this trauma inside of you, but if you don't get it out, or you might not ever come out. There's a lot of things you can do, like you're saying, just pause, take the breath. Meditation for me can sometimes be pretty tough. The exercise of writing stuff down, just letting it all out, and then doing the breath work that gets me into that mode. And the coffee helps too.
Yeah, I agree. There's some health benefits for coffee. We'll figure them out.
I'll take whatever you say. It's great for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. You know, nowadays you can just quote each other and then it becomes fact. People say, well, I saw it on the internet. Probably do a little more research there. A friend of mine was on a political campaign and they would make up all these websites and all of them would quote each other so it looked like they were all referenced. So you really have to be careful where you get your stuff from. I don't watch the news anyways.
I don't either.
Nothing I can do about any of those things. I can't stop a war. I can't stop a politician from lying.
I agree. I don't watch the news. And it doesn't mean that I'm ignorant to what's going on in the world. It's just there's so much negativity and darkness on there, and it creates a lot of fear in people, which there's different reasons that we have that going on. I get what's happening. And I do believe that when we elevate like the consciousness of the world and have people have their own higher levels of emotional intelligence and self-awareness, I'm like, that's what I was put here to do. And I also believe in being a stand for things. If you're a stand for something or for people, I always tell my clients, I'm like, you probably won't like me sometimes because I'm not here to be like your friend or to even be nice, but I'm here to be a stand for what you say you want. But so many people want to fight as humans. We want to fight for our limitations. And I'm like, if you fight for your effing limitations, I hope you like them because you're going to keep them. That's the truth. And it's hard to hear sometimes.
Sometimes what you need to do, you know, what is it called? The addition by subtraction. If you let go of some of these things, that can be the biggest gain you're going to make. I have a habit of taking on too many things. I get these 3 things. I think is Dr. Benjamin Hardy's book, Who Not How, or 10x is easier than 2x. If you make a list bigger than 3 things, you're probably not going to do any of them. I love his books and stuff. They've really helped me, especially the Who Not How. It really helped me hire my VA, which she is more than just an assistant. She does a lot. Now we're started to where we're going to be building out people's personal branding and stuff like that on social media. And I'm really happy to do that because it helps people grow and kind of help them develop themselves. And I know what it's done for me. All these things have like helped me grow and opened so many doors for me. I just want to now like open the doors for everyone else. This door is open. That one's open. All of them are open. You just got to choose which one you want to go in. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers, but I can at least maybe let you know that you can do your quest as well and you can start doing it right now. If you find a good deal or you meet a great person, why wait? Because tomorrow's not promised.
It's not guaranteed, right? Not at all. And I love the idea of the door opening. It's giving people that ability to have the space, a platform, a safe space, like a supported space with the right people in it that you can trust, but opening the doors for other people, creating a stage for other people, putting up panels panels for experts in their fields, I also learned that if like I'm super powerful and I can kick the effing door down, but I thought, I used to think it was a good thing. Yeah, but sometimes I realized maybe it's not meant to be kicked down. Maybe it was closed for a reason.
Maybe somebody else needs to use that door.
It wasn't my door.
You kicked
Maybe
it
that's
down.
why I had to learn 2023.
But sometimes that just comes from experience and knowledge. When I was young and brash, I did everything was rapid fire and highly self-destructive. I had to go through all those things to be the person that I am now. Opening doors for other people is pretty rewarding. I've been fortunate to have 4 or 5 mates that are now captains.
That's awesome.
I hope I've helped. I still, like, if they call me right now, I pick up the phone and help or just talk, because everybody needs help. We all do. There's plenty of things that we all need. Sometimes the power of just asking for help it's a big ask for me, because I normally think I can handle it, I can figure it out. And a lot of times you just ask for help, or you ask for something. Somebody goes, oh, just do this. Takes them 2 minutes, but you've been struggling with 2 weeks.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I was in Dallas last week. That's the event through which I met John and how I got connected with you. I was on a panel there, and the question was like, what was one of your biggest challenges, whether it be in business or life? And like, I thought about it. I was like, God has given me some challenges. But between like the surgery, the stroke in 2011, overcoming paralysis, being told I would never walk again, all my trauma, I think, all the generational trauma was held in my spine. With that being said, one of the greatest challenges beyond all of that was like learning to receive, stepping back into that feminine energy that we all embody. It doesn't matter if you're male. Okay, let's not get into male, female, that thing. But we all have male energy, we all have female, masculine energy, feminine energy, and the receiving is part of the feminine energy. And I was like, it took me like so long. Like I didn't get that it was a whole self-worth thing, that it was like, oh, I got it, I'll do it myself. And once I learned to receive, like not only does life just like, oh, it's so much easier. Like I don't do anything without community now. Like this whole huge event that's coming up, I'm just over here like little Glinda, and it's amazing. And I get why it's coming back to me, but I had to allow it in, and it's just like, you would be amazed. There are so many incredible people in this world that want to support you, that want to give to you, that want to help you, right? And sometimes we think they're not there, but that's not true. And if that's not showing up in your world yet, it's because your inner world isn't matching for it to be in your outer world.
Receiving is something that I have struggled with for a long time. I give a lot, and then like if somebody gives to me, oh, you didn't need to do that, and then my wife said, why do you do that? Like, just let them give you something. It makes them feel good. There was a friend of mine, I guess he needed some help, and I sent him some money, and he tried to give it back to me, and I said, well, you don't need to give it back to me. I told him, hey, I appreciate you, because when we were kids, you were always around. And then I told him, I said, well, give it on to somebody else that needs some help right now. Maybe that put him off, because maybe it was bothering him that, so I should have probably taken the money back.
Yeah. No, you meant well, though, but I hear you.
Because to me, the money wasn't that important. It was the fact that he needed help.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's such a good point. I haven't really talked about it in a long time. When I went through transformational training, there was this like processing that we did, and it talked about like you had to go around and say if the person was a giver or a taker. And so I never saw it until then. And when they explained afterwards, it was like when you don't allow someone to help you, when you don't allow someone to support you, like you're literally a taker, and you don't realize it. Like when I wasn't allowing people to help me, and I was in my like, oh, I got it, don't worry, I'll do it. It's because I didn't want to be a quote unquote bother to anybody. And then yet I loved helping people always. Why? Because I was a nurse too. Like it filled my heart, like gratitude, or grateful. Like, it was amazing. And I'm like, I never thought about the fact that I was taking that great feeling away from them. I was like, oh shoot. Like we don't mean it that way, but when you can flip how you see it, it's like, oh, that totally makes sense now.
It does make sense, because there's a disconnect when you don't take, when you don't receive something. It doesn't completely circle. It doesn't keep the energy moving. That's a lot of times where it just kind of gets bottled up everywhere if you don't receive that back. And I've thought about that a lot. It's something that I'm working on, that I like to give and help people. I don't really need a lot. I'm not a very materialistic person. I don't really do things to have the fancy cars, truck, any of that stuff. Because I work probably in one of the most opulent assets in the world. I work on yachts, and I see all the opulent stuff. I've been around it, and it doesn't really, I've seen so many people with all these material things that are just very empty. Not to say that that's where it goes. They work very hard to get those things, but they didn't work very hard on, maybe their family or some other things. So they weren't really happy. So I've never really been about that. A good friend of mine, the same captain, he said, I grew up rich, but we didn't have a lot of money. My parents did fairly well with business and stuff, but I never really saw money as like the driving factor for me. I mean, I never grew up hungry. We never wanted for really anything. If you want it, you got to go get it. Go work for it, or you got to go figure it out. And that's one of those things where your upbringing, you don't really realize that all those things are affecting you now. There's that same guy, David Bayer. He said, well, just write this down. When you were young, money was blank. A lot of times it comes up, money was here. When you're young, you're struggling struggling trying to get things going and all that stuff. And then to get out of that scarcity mindset, it can be tough sometimes, where in all reality, the world is very abundant. Everything around us is there for you to get it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. Everything you're saying, I'm like 1,000%. There's so many people though, like money didn't grow on trees. I'm not a bank, like all the things. If you grew up in that type of home, and I surely did, and there is a world of abundance. And so it does come from cleaning up. And that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, because it is about understanding, like, where do these conversations come from? That none of them are true. It's simply like a thought that you had. Like, the world is neutral. Like everything, I live from such a state of neutrality, because you could have like an event happen to two different people, the same event. Will they not react differently to it? So the event itself was neutral. How people react to it just stems from what they tie emotions and thoughts and beliefs and everything to. So when you can understand that the way you have it isn't right and it isn't wrong, it just is from a previous experience, like, do you want to shift and change that? And then being able to understand that and getting out of that scarcity mindset and shifting it to, but then the receiving piece needs to come in too. So that's where we get to clean up also the self-worth or lack thereof, or self-love, because again, that's coming from our childhood. So when you like put all this stuff together and you clean it all up, then you get into that, right? We're in that flow state where everything you're looking for is looking for you. Like you have to really watch what you say, right? Like your word is your wand. And when you're in flow state, man, you're going to get it one way or the other, you know? And it's like, so these days I'm really like clean with what I say, like as best as I can be, because it's all coming in and I'm just grateful for it. And I give glory to God, you know, and that wasn't always my thing either. And it is now. I get it now. And we all get to show up for what we love. And when I got tied to what my God-given why was, and I was the girl who struggled with the why, especially in network marketing, it was like, you have to have a why. You need to know your why. And I was like 2 years. I was so frustrated. Finally, I was just like, why the hell not? I'm like, why not? That's my why. Okay. And I'm going to keep going because this has tied me up for 2 years. I was like, this is so stupid. And then, but I just kept showing up and doing the work. And then the God-given why came, and now it's unstoppable. Like nothing. It doesn't matter what darkness comes in, what challenges come in. You just keep showing up. You find a way, you find people, and then you just get in this flow state and everything comes. So it's amazing.
It's finding the why. It's interesting you say that, because I tell people, especially when they're trying to figure out what to do, like there's a lot of young people they make great money. They don't have any bills. They can save up a lot of money and invest wisely. In 5-10 years, they can be semi-retired and go live somewhere. So the why is very important. There's probably 5 questions that you got to answer. You have to be brutally honest with yourself what your why is. Like for me, is like, why am I doing this? Just for security for my family, but for one, I really want other people to see these things that they can take a crack at it. I want my kids to know that, hey, the old man took a swing at it, and maybe that'll inspire them to go and do something that they're passionate about. If you don't see other people in your life doing things, you're probably not going to do things. If you attract all the right people around you, your mind will keep expanding. But if you stay around the same people that aren't necessarily doing anything, and not that people you love need to be doing things that you want to be doing, they don't have to understand, but they do have to understand that maybe you got to segment yourself and be around these people that are going to challenge you, going to challenge your future, going to challenge everything about you, so that you can go there and maybe show them that they can do that. I don't consider myself to be extraordinary or anything, but I will put in the work and force myself to be around people and get uncomfortable, and a lot of times make other people uncomfortable.
Because it's just, like I said, it's being a stand for what they say they want, you know? They just don't know. Sometimes we say we want it, we don't really know what we need or what it takes until the people before us. Like, unless, like, you don't listen to everybody. Let's find the person who has what you want to have, meaning like where you want to be success-wise, with the impact that they're creating, the legacy they're leaving. Find the person who has similar what you want to have, and put your blinders up for a while and go. And then you can like open the blinders, take a look around again and see what the people who have gone before you, who have success in what you're doing, like do that, put your blinders up and go. And you do get to release and you do get to pull back. And my poor family, they don't even, I think the biggest compliment I got was from one of my nieces, and this was like 2 or 3 years ago. And she was like, could you please be patient with us? We don't even know who you are anymore. And I was like, that is the best thing like ever. I call it love people from a distance. Sometimes the hardest thing to do in my transformation, I remember back when I would think that I was leaving people behind. Like it was, I was ascending to somewhere new, different, like internally and stuff. And I was just like, but I don't want to, who am I to leave people behind? Like, I don't want to leave them behind. And I didn't even know if I knew what it meant, but it was like this feeling. And then I realized, and someone like explained, they're like, but you're not, and you have to go. That's when you become that light. Then you light like a path or a way. You know, when I create the things and they see it, they just kind of see it and they're watching from afar.
They don't necessarily need to understand. You're not really leaving them behind, but you're actually leading them forward. You want them to see. It'll take some time. It's funny because when I started making these videos on YouTube, they were were awkwardly awful. My wife and my kids go, hey, you have an engaging personality. You like to talk to people. People like to talk to you. But these videos are terrible. So now I'm hoping like a couple years later that maybe they're a little bit better.
I hope this is a little bit better.
I figured there's other people that are probably trying to do it as well, and they're probably doing it as bad, because in the beginning of everything, you're terrible at all of it. You think, oh yeah, nailed that one. Then you look at it and you go, oh.
Now I remember when I had to first do a Facebook Live, I stood there, I wrote it out on a piece of paper. I had to invite all the nurses and the paramedics that I work with over for a party that I was going to make this sangria. And I said, listen, you suckers better show up. I said, because you come to every other party and I'm starting this business and you better be there. So the condo is now full of my friends and I'm in the kitchen and I have somebody with the camera and they're like, okay, now these guys can't drink until I actually make the sangria. But in order to do so, I'm going to do it live on social media. 45 minutes into like, are you ready? And me running to the bathroom because like my hands are sweaty and I want to like vomit. And I was like, okay, yeah. They finally start screaming from here over into the kitchen going, make the damn sangria or we're leaving. And I was like, okay, I got this. So that's how this girl started like doing her first live. Hysterical. My mentor is like, I'm not really sure if it's like a great idea that you do like mix the alcohol with the health product. I was like, well, it was the only way I could get my friends here. So if you want to have a good party, right? You want to have a good party, you serve food. If you want to have a great party, you serve food and alcohol. That was the hot mess that I started as.
I did a daily video every day for about 2 years. And the more people told me they were awful, the more I was doing them. I was like, you know what? Because I would ask people like, well, what do you think about the video? And they was like, oh, this is awful. I can't even watch it. At least I'm giving it a shot. And other people will see the progression and see like, well, it took him. And some people get it really quick and they're really good. But that doesn't happen with most people. I used to train people when I was in college and school just to make a little extra money. And like I was like, well, how have you worked out before? No, but I want to do the workout you're doing because I've been doing training for 5-10 years. I always played a lot of sports and stuff. So if you haven't done anything yet, what we'll do is we'll walk around the track as far as you can go. Day 1, day 2, walk even further. Try to do another extra lap. Day 3, 4, and then the first week, don't drink any sodas or anything. Just drink water. Yeah, so it's not all at once because people go extreme. They do this 3-hour workout,
and then that's it.
You have to do a little bit. You have to keep doing it. Consistency beats intensity. You have to do to get good at something where you can kind of be confident in it.
I was just going to say that, like everything you're speaking about, even though you're talking about like the gym and working out, it's like the same thing in business. I was just having a conversation. Someone had asked me, they're like, where did you get your confidence? And I'm like, it is about consistency and showing up over and over in whatever we're doing, whether it be business or health or relationships, it's all the same.
People ask me, well, how do I get onto the yachts and stuff? And I said, well, the main thing you want to do is you want to get your certificates and all that stuff. Show up early, show up often. Be relentless. Just keep showing up.
I hear you. And it's the power of intention, right? Like when that person arrives with the intention that it's going to happen without an expectation. So there's such a distinction between intention and expectation. Expectation is going to the doc, just expecting it's going to happen. And then when it doesn't, you're let down, you walk away and you give up after a few times. With the power of intention, you just set the intention. You have the visualization, you declare it like this is happening. Like you make that decision. And once you decide, like you will keep showing up as if it's happening because it has no other choice but to happen once you're there. That's the 5D framework. It's so a part of everything I teach. It's the reason I'm not like labeled disabled. I've been through hell and back and lost it all, spent every dime of my recovery. Nobody saw it but me. And then I acted as if and saw things as if. People thought I was crazy, and it's okay. You're going to look crazy when you really understand how it works and you don't worry about what other people think because all of a sudden they're looking at you like, damn, she got lucky. No, she was crazy. Remember the one that was showing up when it wasn't like happening? Like, it's not luck. It's really showing up, doing the work. You got to believe in what you can't see.
Just because you made it look easy doesn't mean it was easy.
I didn't know what it took to hit a certain level. And at 1 year, I was like number 26, like top achiever globally thing. But I was like, when I hit it and it was done and I got to go to the big like hoorah, I'm like, that's amazing. Then I think I realized it's not what I wanted to do forever, which was great. But it really had such a greater appreciation for what went in to hitting that level. I had no idea until I did it.
People always think, oh, they got lucky. They had this. I don't have that. He probably came from a big struggle. People say, I want the Rock's life. No, you don't. He worked very hard and still works very hard. I was reading about him. He said that he wanted to be the #1 action star. He said that's what he was going to do. That's what he did. Pretty incredible when you put your mind to it and you stick with it, what you can actually do. None of it comes easy. None of life is actually hard.
As hard as we make, I always say it's as hard as we make it.
We can talk ourselves into or out of many things. There's so many things that I talk myself out of that I think back.
I think once you figure it out, you get into a flow. Once you get in flow state, you're like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
and you get to maintain it more and more the more you go, right? As long as you stay in work and don't get sucked into this drift of life.
By putting yourself around people that are more positive, it just generates that attraction. I'm a very positive person because I choose to be that way. I've had those times where I was very negative about a lot of things. You think all these things are going to be bad and keep happening to you? Well, probably are.
You probably are.
Or
right?
you decided that they are, it's where you're going to live.
Lately, I caught myself saying, if you made this plan B for yourself, well, you better effing like it because you're getting plan B. That means you never believe plan A enough. There was a time where I didn't get that. Yeah, and I'm just like, no, dude, if there's a plan B, we're done.
We are the sum of the choices we make, and the actions become our lives. And it starts with those thoughts. Those thoughts become those choices. So we are what we think. We make up the stories in our head that everything's going to be terrible. Then it's going to be terrible. I want my life and my family and everybody around me to live a good, happy life. We all have our falters and our moments, and it's okay. Just accept it and accept that you're human. Try to do it better the next time. Don't beat yourself up about it. I have a tendency myself to be very hard on myself, and I'm working on pushing myself out of that. Those actions or things that happen are just neutral. They're not good or bad. They just happen. The story you make up in your head makes it negative or positive. Certain people have told me, well, you can't just bury your head in the sand when that happened. I'm like, well, I'm not. It happened. I can let it affect me and carry that with me to the grave, but is that healthy? Is that going to serve the people around me? No. Just say, okay, it happened. Move on. You're just choosing to not have a big reaction to something.
People want you to be upset about things because it's not normal if we're not.
Should I place a whole bunch of energy in something that I can do nothing about? Probably not. As the older I get, more empathetic than sympathetic. Like, can't be sympathetic for someone that made really poor choices and all these things happen to them, but I can be empathetic to their situation. I can help you get on your feet, and then that's more useful, because there was times where I needed a hand up and people gave it to me, and it was great because it helped me along the way. This has all been really fantastic, and I could just keep talking about this.
We could talk for hours, right?
This is stuff that's really important to me that I love talking about, because I realized that I needed to do all this work at a younger stage in my life.
I always say we can't go back.
This is stuff I love talking about, and I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm hoping to collaborate, and I know we're going to collaborate on multiple things and get together. We'll get back to Florida, some meetups and events and stuff like that, and I look forward to all of it because it's been a really great conversation.
So good. And would it be okay? I'd love to share with your listeners. Is it okay what we have coming up in June? In June in Fort Lauderdale at Bahia Mar, we have a 3-day conference, the Visionary Edge. Guys, you don't want to miss this. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a corporate leader, just a leader in life, someone looking to level up, we have speakers that are global experts that are coming from all around the U.S., from Canada. We have expert panels in real estate and investment. We have AI for your business and success. We have a health and wellness, because I bring that obviously into everything I do. So many incredible people. There's an exclusive red carpet VIP networking event. That's a 2 hours on Thursday evening, the 5th, followed by 2 full days. It's so super low ticket. It's ridiculous. I think like general admission is $299, and then VIP includes all 3 days with lunch and like lunchtime VIP speakers and all the things.
Where do people find you and find out? They need to connect with you about it.
You can find me easily on Facebook as Jenell Kelly, or Instagram is Jenell_Lynn_Kelly. The event link is, and you'll find all my socials there, is Jenell. It's .comey.io. We'd love to have some of your community support them.
This has been really great. And you said the first week of June?
Yeah, June 5th, 6th, and 7th. I so wish you were here. Next one. We're going to get you in September. We have another one in September.
Hopefully I'll be there for the next one. My wife might be available, so maybe I'll have her go down there. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your time with everyone and myself.
Thank you. So much. I appreciate you.
That's the Yacht Captain Investor Podcast out. We'll see you guys next time.